America. It's time to do free differently. Local Now, free TV that starts in your city.
Breaking now, we have tsunami watches and warnings for many parts of the western U.S. coastlines, and that includes a tsunami warning for the state of Hawaii, and that is for every inch of coastline. You don't want to just think, well, this earthquake occurred in the Northwest Pacific off the Kamchatka Peninsula of Russia. All the waves are coming in from the northwest, so if I face northwest, I've got a problem. Everywhere else is fine. No. Tsunami waves are really good, unfortunately, at wrapping around the islands. Every side of every island is at risk.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people may be surprised to learn that. Now, Dr. Nab, we know we've got folks who obviously live on the island, but folks who may be visiting, and you have the unique experience of having lived there. So you've said now once they've upgraded to a tsunami warning, they're likely going to start the siren. Would they do the sirens now, given we've got several hours before the estimated first arrival?
Now, that'll be coordinated with Hawaii Civil Defense, their emergency management. They'll decide when they need to do that. But with tsunami warnings in effect, it's already time to gather your stuff and evacuate from tsunami evacuation zones. There are evacuation maps available that will tell you if you live in an evacuation zone, and there are tsunami evacuation zones, then there are like extreme tsunami evacuation zones that are farther inland, and then there are safe zones. So you want to find out what zone you're in. You got to go to the your city and your county website to find out that information. That's just for Hawaii. And then we've got the tsunami watch for the entire west coast of North America.
Yeah, I was just up in the Seattle area recently. You see the same signs that you're talking about, the tsunami evacuation zones, the areas that you need to be, in your safe spot. There's Seattle, 84 degrees, of course, beautiful because it is on the water, but that would make it vulnerable. That also includes parts of the Oregon coastline, places like Cannon Beach, down to Tillamook, also under that tsunami watch.
And why it's so important to know your zone when it comes to tsunamis, just like hurricanes, because there's elevation, there are places that we know are vulnerable, and there are places that we know would be safe.
Right.
So you've got to know where the safe place to go is. So it's the coast of, the south central facing coast of Alaska is under the watch. Places, advisories and warnings are farther to the west. But that watch goes all around the coast of Canada on the west coast, down the coast of Washington, Oregon, and California, including the San Francisco Bay Area, including the Monterey Bay Area, going south from there.
Now, I've got to imagine, given the, population, places like Seattle and places like San Francisco, emergency managers are going to be thinking about that when they're coordinating, movement time or time to alert people if it's determined that there needs to be a warning issued for some of those areas.
Right. So to be clear, we know there was an earthquake, obviously, and it has been confirmed that there was a tsunami generated, and that's why the warnings for portions of Alaska and for Hawaii, because they have determined that there is a tsunami threat to those areas. The places that are under a tsunami watch, they're still investigating through the tsunami warning centers what the tsunami threat is to the coastlines of places like California, Oregon, and Washington. Once they determine that there is a threat, then they will, for the areas necessary, upgrade the watch to warning. Now, it's important to talk about also the timing of all of this. Hawaii, your first tsunami waves could arrive as soon as about 7:17 p.m. Hawaii time. So that's still about a little less than 4 hours away. But it's a little longer for the waves to get all the way to the west coast of, North America, although given how this area is farther north in Hawaii, in some places the timing is similar to the arrival in Hawaii.
Yeah, we look at Seaside, Oregon, where that sits, just before midnight Pacific time. Places in California, a little before 1 a.m. That would be like a San Francisco.
Yeah, so like 1 a.m. Pacific time, that would be around 4 a.m. Eastern time, and that is all about 3 hours after the arrival time in Hawaii. So the farther north you go in North America, and around the coast to Alaska, the sooner it would be. So like Hawaii, the 6-hour travel time, that's similar to what is in southwestern Canada. Then it takes another couple hours to get farther down into Washington and Oregon. But the earthquake was a couple hours ago. So now we are 2 hours into that 6-hour travel time to Hawaii.
And we watch for, aftershocks. Could they trigger more tsunamis? I think everybody thinks of a tsunami as a singular wave. The tsunami is one, but you can have sets of waves. So they're going to be monitoring this all together. It's going to be a multi-agency, investigation here in the coming hours.
Yeah, so that's shortly after 7:15 Hawaii time, estimated arrival time of the first tsunami waves. You got to realize, like you just said, Alex, that tsunami waves can come in bunches, and the first wave might not be the highest.
No wave, yeah.
And, individual tsunami waves might surge for 5, 10, 15 minutes and then recede, and there might be a drawdown of the water level in between tsunami waves, like in the trough between the waves. So the water might leave and then come back in a big, big rush. So you do not want to be anywhere near the warned coastlines when those waves first start arriving less than 4 hours from now.
That is a great point. When the water recedes away, that can tell you got a big problem. We'll be right back.
At Ford, 80% of the vehicles we sell in America are assembled in America.
Well,